Hello, beautiful stars. Welcome to today's reading. So, as the title implies, we are looking into the next great influence coming into your life. It could be a person, it could be multiple people, but we are limiting and gearing it towards a person or people rather than a situation or a thing. All right, so let me show you your options here. We have 4 piles in pile 1. This is your oracle. And this is its representative. Pile 2, this is your oracle, and this is its representative. Pile 3, this is your oracle, and this is its representative. And pile 4, this is your oracle, and this is its representative. All right, lovely stars. So take a moment to tune into your intuition. Close your eyes if you need to. Take a nice deep breath. When you open your eyes, see which cards call out to you, which pile calls out to you, and then go to the timestamps in the description below, and then I will see you in your piles. Hello, Pile 1s. Welcome to your reading. All right, so what we have here is your chosen card, which is the influence coming in. And then we have your Lenormand, and the shape of your Lenormand is very specific. It's in the shape of the Eiffel Tower. So we'll see what that means when we uncover the cards there. And then we'll take a look at your tarot for other clarity here. So let's start with the next great influence coming into your life. So we have the gift of connection with this card. Okay, so what's the next great influence coming into your life for pile 1? A time of prosperity. I see almost very curated lavishness. Those are very specific descriptions, but I see kind of like a courtyard, perhaps. Yeah, it's what I've described. It's a courtyard and people are mingling, but it's like there's an air of elegance, finesse, refineness, coming through here with this kind of interaction. So this person, for pile 1, please, is it a person or a group? It's a person that will lead to groups, or not just groups, more so connection. So we have the gift of connection. So leading to connection, very, I'm hearing curated connections. So there's some sort of very specific energy here in terms of what this person, is connected to the social circles that they have. The social circles, the connections that they have. It's very precise. It's very who you know, very specific, very the best word that's coming through is refine for me. So just like the energy that this card is conveying here. You can see this person looking at this jewelry like either like a curator or a jeweler. Yes. Okay, so that is the energy of the person coming in who will connect you to other very esoteric or very direct paths, very specific connections is the best description I have for it. Considering that we are getting the Eiffel Tower as your Lenormand shape, it could be like somebody in that kind of type of industry, you know, like in the fashion industry where they know only specific connections, or a jeweler of sorts, or something very kind of up there, elegant. It's the nature of this person coming through. Yeah, like somebody really high name, like in the fashion industry, and they're gonna get you connected with other people in the fashion industry. That's just an example, but it's something of that nature. Yeah. Kind of like a Devil Wears Prada kind of thing. I don't know what the devil. I've never seen the movie, but yeah, it's like somebody, or a Cruella perhaps. I don't know why fashion is coming through strongly here, but that's what I'm getting as an example. And it's like somebody, you know, in the industry connecting you with other people in that very specific industry. Yeah, so that's the next major person influence coming in to connect you with other people. So let's look at your Eiffel Tower here. So Spirit wanted me to get very specific with the numerology on this Lenormand. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 indicates new beginnings, connections, openings, goals, career, starting something. 2 is, of course, the duality of connection with other people. And 3 is where major changes or shifts happen, kind of like an explosion or a birth of everything else, is where 3 gets started, like manifestation happening kind of level. Yeah, where it starts as 1 or like a thought, and then it comes into 3. When it comes to 3, that's when you have the full manifestation coming through. 4 is about stability, whatever energy is supporting, stabilizing, or reaffirming is another word that's coming through. And then 5 is the energy of change or shift in the, yeah, primarily change or shift. So we're actually going to start with 1 here. So we have the clover. Okay. Serendipitous, because you were asleep, quote unquote asleep. You, yeah. Primary energy that's hitting me right now. Let's continue. Let's get the full Eiffel Tower before we make our connections here. 2 is the birds. Wow, it's really coming together. Okay. Yeah, okay, wonderful. 3. Oh, okay, wow. The letter. Your story is really coming together here. The message is... Okay, wonderful. Pile 1. Okay, 4 is the ship. And then 5 is the moon. Okay. Wow, okay. Holy cow. Greece, Athens, Santorini. You are going places. Number 1. Pile number 1. Remember, this is the next significant influence coming into your life. We didn't ask for a time period, a time span, so it could be anywhere from, you know, like in the next month to the next 5 years, something. It's whenever they're coming in next. But they're, whoever this is, they're going to make a major influence. So let's talk about where we're starting at. What I see is you are in not exactly a dormant phase. I just get sleeping. Is where you're at. So perhaps your passion, your project, or something is in a sleeper kind of phase. Is what we're getting. It's a time of rest and rejuvenation. That's primarily the energy we're getting from sleep here. It's not necessarily like that it's dormant or dead or anything like that. It's more like, oh, it's just resting. So whatever you've got going on, whatever state you're in a very neutral state, a very resting kind of phase. But what you don't realize is when this person coming in, it's going to be by chance, it's going to be by serendipity. Perhaps you, yeah. So it's really more by a stroke of luck, a stroke of luck that is divinely guided, of course, to lead you onto your path. And they're going to bring many things to you. The major significant thing impact they'll have is giving you a letter of recommendation, or giving you their recommendation to the other connections that they have, and that will get you your footing in the world and make you have like make you noticeable, make a splash in the world, whatever you're trying to accomplish or achieve. If we use the fashion example earlier, it's like perhaps you are an aspiring, fashionista, or a fashionist, but you never really got the connections to get you there. Well, this is the connection to get you there. They're actually going to give you your recommendation, and you will make a splash out of it, and then words of your name will travel, or your design, or your product. We're just using the fashion example here, but it could be anything, right? Whatever you're trying to work on, whatever art project, manifestation. I don't get so much relationship, but of course that could be the case as well. Whatever it is, it's going to make a splash, and your name will travel, your work, your project. You will have those connections. Some of you, a good portion of you, or a good portion of you, I do see travel as part of your routine. Like traveling abroad, doing fashion shows, things like that, or like touring, music, if you're in the music industry, touring across the world, and traveling. But you will have recognition. Like I said here, we see a lot of travel, and what came earlier was Greece, Italy, Santorini, along that area of the world. There is what we have. And then Paris as well, with the Eiffel Tower as the shape here. Okay, that sums up that message. It is certainly quite clear. Okay, let's get into your tarot here. Yes, they wanted me to draw 3 cards, but I wanted to wait until we get on camera. So let's draw 3 cards here. Let's see if they pop any more in. All right, for pile 3, Spirit. Sorry, don't know why I said pile 3. Maybe you want to check out pile 3. I haven't done a reading for pile 3 yet. But let's go. All right, for pile 1, group 1, please, Spirit. What and how this major influence will have a shift in their life. Okay, one more here. What kind of shift will this have on group 1's light, please, Spirit. I keep on wanting to say pile 3, pile 1. There really might be something coming through there. No. Okay. Actually, yes. Spirit's changing. The energy is shifting back and forth. Let's see here. No, okay. Alright. We're gonna do this. One more shuffle. And we will choose this way. Okay, for pile... Yes, there we go. Thank you. Otherwise, I can sit here and shuffle all day. Let's see. Here we go. This one. Yes. Okay, yes, this one. And one more here. This way. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see what we have. Okay. So we have the 9 of Air. And this deck does not follow the traditional tarot at all. So it's kind of a unique own deck. So we'll just read the message intuitively as is, lovely stars. Yeah, I see a lot of designs, and we have timing as well. Those are the 2 key components here. This is what's going to be shifting. This, I feel like, is you. Okay. Now we have this card here. The earthly element and the 9 of earthly element. It's an offering that is going to make you very happy. Okay, and then we have 13 here. Creatress. Okay, let's see, hold on. What's the energy of this card? Please, Spirit. I see you leading an industry, Pile 1. You have the potential as an option, as a choice to lead an industry if you want to. They're leaving that in your hands. Okay. Yes. So a couple of things here. I see, okay, so we talked about who the influence is, the impact they'll have. And then for the change or shift that's going on in your life, I see you becoming this really confident, proficient is not the right word, but it's one of the words we have in the English language. Yeah, proficient, creative, demonstrative. Anywho, it's a very confident energy, and of course this is going to take time. This is you far in the future, creating many things. Whatever you're creating, whatever you're wanting to do or perhaps meant to do, you're going to create many different structures and paradigms, and of course those are just general descriptions, because we have a general reading here, but think of it as if you are a musician, if you're a fashionista, that will cater and be specific to your field, right? But some sort of structure and design, but it's either way, it's going to make you feel very content, very happy. It's an offer that you're going to love. It's what we're getting. It's because you'll get the recognition that you deserve and want. The other thing is it'll give you a sense of balance in your life. Getting very temperance energy here, so very balanced. And the other aspect is kind of a leadership role. Like I said, if you want to, that is a choice entirely up to you. If you want to lead an industry in regards to whatever this is you are wanting to do. Yeah. Okay. And I think that encapsulates your message. So the next major influence is somebody of kind of like a refined nature, elegance, bringing this great thing, a lot of travels we see, and then in the far future here, building something into that you really, really enjoy and will love, and gaining confidence and structure, and kind of being, I feel like a very, it's you feel the energy tapping here into the future, kind of like a boss or a figure, like a manager. Not in like kind of restrictive way as the boss has to do with so many stress and stuff. It's more like I feel like you are comfortable. It's the feeling we're getting here with this temperance kind of vibes. Yeah. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful to hear. Let's see. Do we need any final clarification or messages? No. Okay, they're saying no. Okay. So that was your reading, Pile 1. Wonderful to hear. Looking forward to that. Perhaps you are in the state of rest right now, which is much needed, because soon enough you will get blown up in the world. You will be known. You will get your recognition, and a lot of travels ensue for some of you. Yeah. All right, lovely stars. That was your reading. If you liked it, enjoyed it, found it insightful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm wishing you a wonderful, magical day whenever and wherever you are. Take care of yourself. Shine bright, ever so bright, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye, lovely stars. Hello, Pile2. Welcome to your reading. Alright, so let's look at the next great influence coming to your life that's represented with their energy here. And then the impact or influence they will have, which is represented here. And I'll tell you the shape of it in a second. And then the change or shift that will have in your life here. So let's look at their energy first. So the card you've chosen is the Sun. And this next great influence coming in for you, Pile2, very radiant. Before I even did your pile shuffling, it feels very synchronistic with your energy, in alignment with your energy. And perhaps that's because I'm getting strong partner vibes here coming through. If you are not single or looking for a partner at the current moment, keep in mind this is the next significant influence coming in. It could be months from now, it could be years from now. We didn't put a time stamp on it. So the next significance coming in resonates on the same energy that you do, and it's a very brilliant, vibrant energy coming through here. What else do we have? Star connected, star cross, feels soulmate potential. Okay. So let's look at some other indicators to clarify the energy here. We have clarity. We have purging. Interesting, okay. And then we have Butterfly painting. Creativity, intuition, and rebirth. Staying in a situation for too long. Okay, I see all the chalk and the dust sloughing off, and it's as if this butterfly was covered, like it's this magnificent glass butterfly, like stained glass of different etching and glasses put together of different pieces and shapes of multicolor. And when you slough off the brush off the chalk, or when the chalk falls off, then you reveal this magnificent, gorgeous, multicolor stained glass butterfly is what we're getting. Oh my god, stained glass multicolor. Because what we saw here, and I also saw this card, knowing it was gonna come out in the selection part here, but if you see the synchronicity here, it's like this sliver of light coming through and creating this stained glass or multicolor appearance that is this butterfly here. And part of what this influence, I feel like, yeah, it has to be a soul partner, a soulmate connection, because I feel like strongly what they're going through is also at the time what you're going through. There's some purging to be done in your life, not necessarily purging, but more so refinement of your life, refinement of certain areas, refinement of certain habits, refinement of certain characteristics, kind of like just washing yourself anew is what I'm hearing, whatever that means. So it could be literally like perhaps showering, bathing, making sure you cleanse your energy, but it's more so in terms of metaphorical, getting more so kind of, yeah, cleansing yourself of old habits, perhaps purging connections that are no longer useful to you or no longer beneficial. And it's in this purging process that gives you the clarity of what you want, is what I'm hearing. So in the clarity, getting the clarity of what you want will make you arise. It's kind of like a rebirth. And we also have here, for some of you, staying in a situation for too long. That's why the purging is necessary, in order to give you clarity. And this influence is also going through the same phase, yes, where they are getting rid of things they no longer need, cutting off ties that are perhaps they've been with for too long, and they're just there because they've been there for too long. But yeah, for both of you, I see this beautiful, radiant, light, gorgeous mosaic butterfly emerging. That's kind of crazy too. The energy or the light from the sun comes pouring down through this prism to create this gorgeous butterfly, right? Now why do I feel so strongly, or connection or future romance potential coming through here? Well, not only do we have the floral heart romance Lenormand coming in for you, the image, the shape we have for your Lenormand here, what they gave me was a garland of flowers, the one you typically see at a wedding, and I did get an image of a couple in the wedding. Yeah, so for some of you it could be, and this pertains, love is boundless, so it could be any combinations of couples. But yeah, we have two figures getting married and walking down the aisle. That's what I'm seeing. And we see this garland of flowers above them and then hanging down on the trellis. Okay, so let's review that then. So we have the bouquet. A gift from heaven, okay. The bear. Okay. Someone strong and authoritative. Authoritative? And then we have the mice or the rats. Ah, lovely. They're going to take your stress away. Okay, on this side we have the fox. Being down by the grind, okay. And then we have the birds. Two things here. Too many voices in your head and but also joyous times and sharing time with friends and families. More so friends. But yeah. But interesting coming out in that here. And we have the clover. It'll feel like serendipity. It'll feel like chance. And then we have the house as our connecting point. Interesting. Okay. Very, very lovely. Oh, that feels quite cozy. Excellent. Okay, so I feel like this garland, one side represents your partner, the other side represents you. Flip it if needs be. We're talking about soulmate synchronistic vibrating same resonance energy here, so it could be either flip for you or it could be both. Yes, so this influence and the impact coming in, yeah, simply put, marriage. Marriage not by the traditional means or form, but marriage in your heart and in your energies. So in your connection with one another. The main feeling I'm getting here is comfort. So comfort with each other, comfort if you are living together, comfort, so like comfort in your household, comfort with each other, but also, ooh, this is lovely. This is comfort in those moments, those tender moments when you A, really need it, and then also B, just because of the nature of the tender comfort of just being together and appreciating each other. It's that very cutesy, lovey-dovey kind of comfort. Don't know how else to explain it, so I'm hoping you get that message. It's like as if you two were snuggle up to each other, and one of you's reading the book and the other is just kind of like, I don't know, listen to music or something, and it's that ambiance of you two just being close together. It's that sense of intimate comfort that we're talking about. Absolutely lovely, absolutely beautiful. So yes, this person will help you bear your stress, or more so relieve you of your stress, because every time you see them or when you're in your presence of them, they are giving you that sense of protection, that overlooking. It's like, I've got you, it's like I'm here for whatever you need. Yeah, they feel like heaven sent, like a present from the cosmos, from the universe to you. Because, and perhaps this is the energy both of you share right now too. You both can be in your mind too much a little bit. That's where all the stress and voices primarily stems from. And of course there are worldly stress that impacts that as well, and cause your mind to run on a hamster wheel, is what I'm getting. On repeated cycles. That's why it feels very serendipitous and like a present. We have both the clover and the bouquet here. And that's why it feels like a gift, that this connection is so tender and so comforting, because you both are perhaps in the grind right now, in the some of you, one of you or the other of you might have dealt with some deceits in the past, but I'm getting more so just dealing with your regular daily grind, right? So your job, your chores, your duties, your bills, whatever you have to take care of. It's just the daily grind, the mundane aspect of the daily life. Very loving, very comforting, absolutely amazing feeling. Yeah, with this beautiful garden. Garden and garland bouquet here. Perhaps you'll have your wedding in your garden. If that's the case, do come back and let me know. This is such a wonderful connection right here. Okay, so let's see how this shifts or changes your life. And like I said, feeling that both of you are so connected, see how it shifts perhaps both of your life. Yeah. If you sat through this far and you, like I mentioned earlier, and you don't see a romantic partner come in, this can either surprise you or this might not be the reading for you, because that's all the vibes we're getting here. So yes. Let's see. We have the star. I cannot. Okay. Yes, wish come true. And you see here that this person is also celebrating. Because, okay. It's a light in the darkness. Okay. And then we have, oh my god, the Two of Cups. No, this is definitely a love reading for this pile. We have the Two of Pentacles. Going from one world to the next. I see. And we have the Ten of Cups. Oh my god, ultimate happiness. And this is like a bouquet for a wedding. And everybody's cheering you on. Or cheering at your wedding. Okay. And we have the King of Pentacles. This is an energy right here. Talk about the stability of this relationship. This is the ultimate stability of this relationship. The energy of Pentacles is that worldly, earthly, material manifestation of the divine connection here. And yes, we have counterpart. This message is so straightforward. I don't think I need to explain much. It's a wish come true. It's a divine partnership, countership. You both are so synchronistic, vibrating, mirroring of each other, that you are the perfect soulmates. Yeah, nothing can break that apart. And it will elevate you into a new world. There's an extra message coming through here. It will bring you to new horizons and new worlds, or expose you to new horizons and new world. And perhaps I see travel involved. Yes. So where you are limited now, perhaps with the daily grind, that will quickly change and shift into something else. Something you can greatly love and enjoy. Having new perspective, new horizons, being able to travel and go to places, whether virtually or physically. Yeah. And of course we have the marriage repetition again here. And also, yes, very celebratory, very loving home, very comforting home that we talked about here. This is the ultimate or excess energy, of the suit. In terms of the numerical, this is the 10 of Cups here. Very happy home family life. And this also speaks to that energy. Very stable relationship, very loving relationship, very prosperous relationship, very comfortable financially and physically relationship as well. Wow, this is the relationship reading to have, pile number 2. It's like, this is what every couple envies and strives for and look up to. You are the model couple, the power couple, and perhaps that's what you'll be showing, representing to the world, that within all the darkness of the world, the light and essence of what your duality and your union is, it's an inspiration of love for all. And that sounds really cheesy, but that is what's wonderfully and beautifully beautiful, absolutely beautiful coming through here. So happy for this coming forward for you. All right, pile 2, do we need any clarification, Spirit? They're saying yes. They want me to pull one card. Is it 1, 2, 3 cards? What else would you like to say about this, Spirit? Okay, so pile number 2, their next great influence, of course, is their partner in the marriage. What final word would you like to say for pile 2, Spirit? One more shuffle here. Okay, what final word would you like to say for group 2 here, Spirit? This one, okay. We'll take another. We'll take 2 more. Yes. Yes, okay. And one more here. Yes, okay. All right, let's see what Spirit wants to say for you in this finality here. We have politics with the 7 of air or swords. Interesting. Okay. And then we have integration. Lovely. And then we have the Lovers. You saw me shuffle the cards. Yes. So actually, when this person comes, there's a bit of hesitation or reservation in terms of your initial encounter or meeting with them, because this is we're asking who's coming, right? So this person has not yet come into your life, but when they do, it will seem a bit off-putting somehow, like they seem maybe not what you expect. Maybe it's because they're withholding some emotions behind them, or because, you know, people have a lot of things going on underneath the surface. So it will seem tricky, like it will seem deceptive is what I'm getting. It will seem deceptive, but it's not actually so, because this is your divine counterpart, your soulmate, your soul partner. So yes, it will take time for you two to integrate aspects of yourself and your connection. It's like, oh, actually, this is how their personality is, and this is how my personality is. That kind of makes sense. Now I understand them. Now we are on the same page. Now we can actually talk to each other. So it's gonna take time, is what I'm hearing, in terms of enjoying that time and getting to know each other, and learning that they are not as deceptive as you initially perceive them in the first impression, is what I'm getting. Yes. This also speaks to the nature of some of your meetings here. It's not necessarily that they are deceptive, or you perceive them as deceptive. It's more so the nature of your work, where you are. I'm getting strong work office vibes here. There's politics going on, like, co-workers. Like, you don't want to mingle with your co-workers. You don't want to mingle with your boss. You don't want to mingle with your employees. It's that kind of politics. It's more so like, oh, you may be attracted to them, or you may be drawn to them, but it's like, oh, I cannot mingle with my boss or my employee. Something of that nature. That's the politics we're talking about. But over time, you two will naturally integrate and get used to each other's energy. You'll be on the same wavelength, and needless to say, marriage and love is the divine union you have here. Wow. That's all I have to say. Pile number 2 is speechless. Absolutely amazing reading. Thank you, Spirit. And thank you, Pile 2, for bringing your presence here. Looking forward to when this comes to pass for you. Alright, Pile 2, that was your reading. If you enjoyed it, found it insightful, liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already. I'm wishing you a wonderful, magical day whenever and wherever you are. Can't wait to see this come true for you. Take care of yourself, shine ever so bright, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye, Pile number 2s. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. Alright, so this is the card you've chosen. This is the next great influence coming into your life. And then we have what energy or impact or change or shift they're bringing, and how this will impact and shift your life. And Pile 3, you are the only one without a Lenormand and an oracle in this area. So let's look at the energy of this next great influence coming in. Okay, so for Pile 3, let's see, what's the next great influence coming in for Pile 3? We have create space. Oh, interesting. Okay. Not so much, not so much physical space, although that could certainly be the case. I see this next great influence, this person, is actually your spiritual guide, heightening your connection. So it's not so, interesting. They're not so much coming in, it's at a point later on in your life where you will feel the connection stronger. Yes, the influence or impact that they will have is kind of like a restructuring or reshaping or upgrading or up-leveling your energy dynamic somehow, your energy structure, your energy matrix is what we're hearing. Yes, so this next great influence coming, quote unquote, coming into your life, it's more so building, it's either at a point where you are building a stronger connection with your guide, or building a stronger connection or creating that space to build a stronger connection with your guide. Somehow you link up with your guardians and guides effortlessly is what I'm hearing. Linking up better, quicker, effortlessly is the main word they're giving me. Yes, effortlessly. So perfect. Effortless effortlessly. But yes, something about restructuring your energy matrix dynamic. Yeah, an upgrade, an integration, a change or a shift. Let's see what major impacts this will have in your life here. Or I mean the major impact or shift or influence that they are quote unquote bringing. Okay. So we have music. Okay. It's the attunement of your harmony, yes, within yourself, but also with nature as well. We have winter. Okay, hold on. Let me get the image for this. Interesting. I see it's like falling snow where your feathers slough off, but in place of those feathers that are sloughing off, new feathers grow right into place. Yes. And this will be in a period of rest and rejuvenation, and kind of like the winter season, right? But more so, we might need some clarification on this energy. What is in regards to this energy here, Spirit? Let's see. I see, yeah, I just see you growing new feathers, whatever that means. Okay, let's look at the final oracle here. We have contentment. Okay. Okay, so in regards to this, I just see you transforming, well, that's not the best word for it. Not exactly transforming. In a way, you're transforming, you can think of it. If you restructure your energy matrix and dynamic, that kind of like a transformation, because you emerge somewhat anew, but it's still your own energy structure, right? It's not like a brand new complete energy structure. Yes, I hope I convey that correctly. And that you can understand. Yeah, it's like you're not, it's like you are still given, like, let's say, okay, for example, building blocks. We give you a box of building blocks. It's not like, and then you build like a tower with it or something, or a castle or a house, and you can change the shape with the building blocks, right? You can build a house, you can build a castle, you can build a bridge, but you're just restructuring and reshaping the building blocks. It's not a new set of building blocks, and it's not like clay or something else. Yeah, it's still your energy dynamic. And as you get in tune and attuned or more connected, the major impact here is something in the rearrangement or the shift of your energy dynamic here. Yes. Very interesting. We'll probably need some clarification for this, because like I said, all I'm getting is I see new feathers growing in at a very rapid pace too, as if like some old feathers fall off and then new ones grow in immediately into full length. But what so that's the major impact it will give you, and it will take you into a state of contentment, yes, but how this contentment is contentment amidst all the energy that's going around you? No. Okay, how do you want me to best convey this, Spirit? Let's see here. So okay, we're gonna get straight into tarot to explain it because I think it's too convoluted, just from this imagery alone and from what they're sending me. They're telling me to go straight into the tarot. Okay, so hopefully we can explain that in a clearer fashion. But just know that the major impact and shift so far is we're having that change and shift in your connection and energy dynamic to your spiritual guides and links. Let's go into how this will shift and change and impact your life, which is what we're getting into now. We have justice with truth and clarity. Okay. We have Queen of Acorns with passion and creativity, which Queen of Wands. We have the Knight of Feathers or Swords with action and focus. Okay. And we have the Wheel of Fortune with change and possibilities. Okay. Ooh, okay. And we have the Star with peace and healing. And I usually don't take reversals. If you're on my channel for a while, you know that. But since it came out that way, we will take it that way. And then we have the Nine of Acorns, Nine of Wands with power and perseverance. Okay. Ooh, okay. And one thing I must note is that although while I absolutely adore and love this tarot deck, it is a nightmare for intuitive readers because there's so many details to focus on. So let me just tune in a little bit, stars, and just get the message intuitively, because if I focus on the image, we can sit here like until next week. Okay. Okay, so the major impact, change, or shift that this influence, this connection will have for pile 3. Please, Spirit. So it'll connect you to your heart to make you, well, kind of reign supreme in terms of whatever field you're doing or whatever purpose you're achieving. Yes, it's a multitude of, I'm primarily getting a lot of energy of expansion here. Yes, that will put you into a period of peace, or shift your energy more into a peaceful manner. Where's the energy of pile 3 currently, Spirit? Let's see, where's your energy currently, pile 3? I actually feel on the surface you are okay. It's as if there's like a lake and it's pretty still, but there's something in the water, like a clock, like a grandfather clock. Okay, that's weird. Some sort of not unsettle, what's the right word? It's not an obstruction either, right? Like a grandfather clock in the middle of a lake. It's not going to make much of a difference to the lake. The lake is still placid and pretty serene, but something's out of place. And that's why we have a realignment of your energy here. For the most part, yeah, your energy is pretty good. We're not changing your energy structure, energy matrix. We're just rearranging it or realigning it somehow, connecting it further. It's like taking that grandfather clock out of the lake. So now that we know that the lake has no objects that are out of place in it. Your reading is very interesting, probably. But I see that same energy being conveyed here. It's like on the energy, on the surface, you are what you are. But once you connect deeper, perhaps into your heart resonance and into your intuition with spirit and with your guides, with your team, yeah, it's like we see there's a couple feathers that are out of place, and as they fall away, the new feathers come in and fill those spots, and then it feels quote unquote right. It feels like the energy dynamic is set. And then you'll be feeling a lot more harmonious, a lot more connected, and in terms of feeling this kind of like peace and contentment, especially falling with the swan here, the star in reverse. It falls out right under this card that we were trying to clarify. There's something out of sorts or out of shape right now. Something's not fitting right. It's like a grandfather clock in a lake. Shouldn't be there. So that's why there's something about the feathers there needing to slough away, or we gotta remove that grandfather clock so the lake can retain or get back to its matrix, its natural matrix, which is just water, right? And that's the energy we've got going on here for you. Because all I see is the swirl of sun or energy in the back of each of these figures. And I feel like all of these represents you and your connection to the divine of some sorts. This is the intervention that's coming through, that shifting and removing your feathers that are sloughing off, that are out of place, and then shifting you into this period of contentment where you weren't at peace before. They are flowing through me right now, so let me just keep going. So yes, there's some sort of clarity, justice and clarity that's coming through. More so clarity as soon as you connect with your higher self and connect with your heart and your inner self to balance and get back in tune with who you are. Something's out of place right now. I don't know what it is, but that's primarily what I'm feeling for you, Pile number 3. Something is a bit off. Like a grandfather clock in a lake. We keep on going back to that. Yeah, or like a couple of feathers I see here in this owl cat that are not in full alignment with all the other feathers. Yeah. So whatever this connection is, 4 or 5 months down the line, could be longer, could be shorter. Yes, it's more so realigning your energy matrix and your energy pattern that will give you the connection, the focus, the alignment, the attunement. And there is an influence of serendipity or chance or fate or destiny or something along to help you with this. Okay. Yes, you have the most interesting pile so far, pile 3. You have no Lenormand. You have this connection coming in, which is more like the attunement of your spirit guides for your energy system. And the impact is it's going to bring you into alignment or back into alignment. Because whatever period or things you're going through right now, it's like there's something out of place. Okay. I am being pointed out that yes, do continue to persevere on. We're gonna get some clarification right now because I don't feel this message is complete. Okay, let's grab this deck here. Spirit, can we please get some clarification or a final final word for Pile3, please? Yes, something about them getting back into their alignment, their energy matrix, removing or shifting what's out of place. Yeah. Okay. All right. So for you, Pile3, Spirit, Guardians, Angels, and Guides, can we have some clarity for Pile3 here in terms of your final advice for them? In terms of what's our alignment, how they get back into alignment, what are they persevering through? Yes, can we get a final advice for Pile3, please? Okay, one more shuffle here. Okay. Okay, we want 5 cards for you. Wonderful. Okay, this is how we're gonna do it. For the first card, no, that's all the way over here. Okay. This one, no, this one. Okay, that's 1. 2 was over here. No, yes. Interesting. Which one is it, Spirit? Okay, this one. 3. We want to take this one too? Yeah, okay. 3. No, 3's in the middle here. This one stronger. 3. No, yes, this one. Okay. 4. Technically, we have 4 now, but that one wanted to come as 3. 4, you are right here. Yes. Okay, and then 5. Oh, strongly over here. Okay. This one? Yes. Okay. All right, let's try to get some clarity here. Pile3. Very interesting reading we have. We have going with the flow. Okay, that's pretty clear. We have maturity. Coming from one phase to another. And the nature connected to, okay. We have breakthrough. I'm hearing old paradigms. But, okay. Paperclip paradigms, okay. But they're not very strong. Aloneness. Seek clarity within yourself. And we have rebirth. Gosh, your cards couldn't be any more synchronistic. Everything is is telling of this. And then we have compromise. Okay, we have a lot of reiteration about rearranging energy dynamics, right? And it's through the process of self-discovery. There's something you're maturing through with something out of place. at the present moment, it needs further introspection in order for you to mature and blossom in terms of energetic wise and perhaps spirituality wise. The breakthrough and the hermit come through simultaneously or next to each other. And we are breaking old paradigms, but I see these paradigms are like paper clips. It's like it's weak, it's feeble. It's like these paradigms can be shattered in an instant. But so it doesn't take too much to get there. But if you just naturally flow into your energy a little bit, okay. If you naturally flow into your energy a little bit, you will find where the kink is or what's out of place. And then you'll shift from one phase to another in recognition, in maturity, and then it'll be the aha moment or the discovery or the enlightening moment that will form your rebirth, or your shift in the alignment or the energy here. That then whenever and wherever you walk and whoever you encounter, because you are in alignment, then you are in full connection with your guide here. And then that will allow you to shift the interaction you will have with the people in the world around you as well, because you will be so in tune with your guides and with yourself that you can discern truth or lies. Discern both truths and lies, and where energy are not resonant, and you can pinpoint that out. It's like, I know you're lying, you're telling the truth. I know what you're saying is to make up for this emotions or whatever. It's that kind of alignment of being so in tune with yourself that when you see somebody who's either in tune with themselves or out of tune with themselves, then you easily recognize it, and then you can pinpoint that out. Well, not necessarily pinpoint it out, but recognize it to let you gauge whether you want to interact with them or not. And it's a matter of just flowing with, So let's say you are this lake, right? And you feel like, oh, I don't feel all myself. I'm supposed to be all water, but something feels weird. And it's that grandfather clock that somebody threw in there a long time ago. And if you go and you kind of flow with what you are, it's like, okay, where is it not water? Like, where am I? Where's my energy dynamic not feeling right or out of place? And then that comes in your recognition, like, oh, and then you realize it's that grandfather clock that's sitting there at the bottom. And then in that recognition, it's like somehow you signal or whatever. This analogy is a bit to stretch, but at that point there, then you can pinpoint to other people. It's more so it's like, oh, well, that clock is not me. Well, the rest of the water is me. So now I recognize what I am and I recognize what I am not. And that's when you come into your moment realization, and you're like, and the next time you encounter objects that are being thrown into you or the water or the energy that you encounter, you're like, that's not my energy, that's yours. That's deceit right there. That's not my energy, that's yours. And it's like, oh, you're water, like that's like me. We're on the same page. Let's connect. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Very, very interesting pile. Very interesting energy dynamic. Pile number 3. Okay, I hope you, go with the flow, tune into yourself and your energy to see where perhaps you are out of sync and where you are in sync, and that will allow you to connect with yourself, with your with yourself, your higher self, with your guides, and then get you into recognition and alignment again. And that will allow you to be able to discern energy easier as you come across them in the future. Yeah. Okay, so yes, you have a very unique pile. I know we were asking for the great the next great influence coming in, but I would say it's more the great influence of the connection to your guides and yourself. Okay, lovely. Alright, Pile3, that was your reading. If you enjoyed it, liked it, found it insightful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm wishing you a wonderful, magical day whenever and wherever you are. Take care of yourself, shine ever so bright, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye, lovely stars. Hello, Pile4, welcome to your reading. Okay, so we have the card you've chosen here, which is the next great influence and presence that's coming into your life. The influence impact that they're bringing. I feel some of you are questioning me right now. Okay. a skeptical aspect. Okay. Don't know why I want to point that out, but if that resonates for you, not even far into the reading yet. Okay. And then we will look into your tarot here to see the influence or impact it will have for your life. Yes. Okay, and one thing I do want to note, your energy is quite intense, Pile4. Not for all of you, but for a good portion of you. Yes, the energy is quite intense here. So yes, let's see what's going on with that. All right, so for the next presence coming in here for Pile4, the next great presence influence coming in for Pile4. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what's... Okay, Pile4. The next great influence. A great presence coming in through. This is a bit of a strange aspect to have and to convey, but for a good portion of you, it could be your own future self. Now, what does that mean? Okay. Yes, we have the shaman here, but I feel like the presence is almost like what you are becoming. We have some skeptics here calling BS. I don't know what that is about. That's an energy that that will be reserved to specific parties that are tuning in. But we'll leave that energy there. And we will shield and ground that energy right now. Okay, but we do need some clarification on this. Okay. So can we get a bit of clarification on the next presence coming into Pile4's life, please, Spirit? Okay. It's almost like an energy of usurping or scrutinizing. Yes. What is this energy in regards to? For the purest light and the highest good. Great Spirit, Source Divine. Okay. Let's get some clarity on this next presence here. We have turning in. With the Four of Cups here. And we have integration. I see. Okay. No wonder your energy was intense, Pile4. there's okay, let me address the small fraction of you in this group first. For those whose energies are not as intense, this reading might be a bit too much for you. Feel free to go to another reading or another pile. But I feel things are going to get a little bit intense and a little bit heavy here, but we will still carry through the energy because the source, pure light energy, has a note for a certain group here. So for those of you who are feeling the heaviness from this energy for a little bit, yes, feel free to jump to another pile or another reading. Thank you for stopping by this pile. And now let me address those of you that are doing the darker work, the shadow work, the shadow aspect. Yes, those of you who are deeply working with your inner self, tuning in, you have to be very careful. I mean, you have to be very careful, very cautious, because there's a difference between grounding with the earth, and there's a difference with letting the desires and pleasures and yes, all the kind of like devilish aspects of the planet entice you. That's what we're getting. It takes strong, when you're doing shadow, it takes strong conviction. It takes strong will and drive to really integrate that aspect of yourself. That's why a lot of that energy coming was so rather intense and rather uncomfortable as well when you're doing this kind of work. Not only do you have to really look at yourself and your aspects and all the demons you have to deal with, but at the same time it can attract that resonance, right? It's like, oh, I'm dealing with a lot of trauma, and so other people who are dealing with trauma are naturally on that frequency, and they're like, they want to talk to you, they want to dump their load on you in terms of like it's like, oh, let's talk about my trauma, or like what I went through with narcissism or things like that. So yeah, you have to be careful to purify your energy and integrate your energy of shedding the light onto the things that are hidden and dark and that are in the shadows, so that they can be fully integrated if you want to emerge as a fuller version of yourself. Yes, that's why this energy feels so deep, so intense. It's not easy doing this kind of work. And your Lenormand shape here coming through, we have the shape of the world actually with an infinity symbol right through the middle. So yes, this next great influence coming through is part of your shadow aspect, and for some of you it's part of your future self, which still might be working with your shadow aspects, or your hidden parts or hidden depths or things that you are not recognizing or failing to see, or it's working on seeing, working on recognizing, or working on integrating. Yeah. Okay. But yes, it takes a lot of effort and conviction to deal with your own inner demons and to deal with other people who will naturally flock to you when you are doing this kind of work. Well, people and entities. If you are becoming a shaman, you are going to be dealing with all different types of entities in this world, and the spiritual world. That's just a natural aspect of it. So for you, those of you working along that line into shamanhood, we'll call it that way, it's yes. You have to be firm, you have to be grounded, you have to be rooted, especially grounded in terms of dealing with these various types of energies. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, it feels like we have a bit more clarity here. And all the skeptics that are calling BS, I welcome you here, love it. Yes, stay still here as we convey your next message. So let's see. And I mean, of course, if you don't feel like this is resonating, yes, you can always click off the video or go to another video or come back another day. But yes, now I feel like I have your attention for those of you who are still here. Okay, let's look at your Lenormand here. Like I said, the shape of the world with an infinity symbol flowing through. So what is this energy dynamic flowing through here? We have the cross. Bring it to you, I can see it. Okay, and then we have the fish. I see. Okay, and then we have the woman, or the feminine energy. And then we have the garden. Okay. So, like we discussed already, okay. This is not easy work. It is not work to be taken lightly. So we're looking at the next major impact. I mean, not the next major. When looking at the next major presence and the impact of the influence it will have right now, or that is bringing in. We have the eternal struggle between self and others, at least in this universe anyways. So there's that duality, right? And you have to integrate the duality between light and dark, feminine, masculine, self, others, and that's what we're trying to balance out here. Because as you take this role, say that, like I said, the future self, or the shadow self coming through here, wanting to bring things to light, it will feel burdensome. It feels like a duty. It feels like an obligation, and at the same time, it can feel very rewarding. It is something to look to, something to strive towards. It's when you balance so well your inner self that your outer community can greatly benefit from your experience. Yes. As you learn to integrate the shadow aspects of yourself, or bring light to the shadow aspects in recognizing what's hidden, what needs to be worked on, what's heavy, what's burdening, then what seems toxic, what is perceived as toxic, what is perceived as shadow, will transform into an integrative, into more a holistic aspect, because we are not separate from our shadow self and not separate from our light, rather simultaneously exist at the same time, like we see with the dots here in the yin-yang symbol. It's like, oh, there's this a very concrete example. It's like, oh, I get very angry and belligerent when I feel like I have to deal with my father, And then that gets projected onto the people in my life, and I don't like that. It's not that it's that separate from you, right? It's part of you. For example, um, this is merely an example, by the way, but that is merely an example. It's like that anger is not separate from you, but rather a part of you, there to teach and to tell you why you're feeling the way you do and why you react the way you do. It's like, oh, I react this way because every time I think of my father or it comes into the picture, it reminds me and then triggers this emotion of anger. And what is it about that relationship, that dynamic that needs to be resolved, that needs to be incorporated, what needs to be the light shine on it, what needs to be integrated, incorporated in order for you to shift into a greater being and version of yourself. Not easy work, definitely not, but you can set a great example for those around you rather than creating a hostile environment if you feed into the shadow aspect. It's like, well, I didn't have a good relationship with my father, so I'm just going to lash out in anger at people, and then people are not happy. Whereas if we fully integrate it and we learn and we change and we shift from that, it's like, oh, I didn't have a good relationship with it. It makes me angry all the time. So you know what? I'm going to work on that aspect. And then others will see, other people in my life will see that there is potential and capability to shift that emotion into something more positive, into self-worth, self-growth, and removing self-limitations. And that's the path of a shaman there. That's the path that the shadow self is coming through to say. It's not that, don't cast me away, I'm here, pay attention to me, because that's what will that will help you learn to grow. When you take off that mask, when you beat with the drum of your heart pace, with your own resonance, and going to the very deep and dark place of yourself, whether it's the feelings of anger, whether it's the burning of emotions coming through, that's what will allow you to transform and heal and give you greater perspective and looking forward to greater horizons and other rewards and opportunities and the plethora of things that are beneficial and feels good in life, you name it. And it will also change and alter and shift your connections with other people as well, so that you don't always have a spiky interaction or a confrontational or infuriating or frustrating interaction every time you interact with the world around you, because once your internal world shifts and you change and grow, then the outer aspect will shift and grow as well. Okay, wow. All right, so we clarify up some things, and I feel like that helps. That alleviates the burden of the energy a little bit, because as you hold on to that energy, the vibration is heavy, right? And in hearing that truth alone will be able to naturally lift and elevate the energy a little bit. So yes, this great presence coming into your life, it's either an aspect of your future self, or an aspect of your shadow self, or part of yourself that needs to be recognized or acknowledged. And what is its purpose there is for you to recognize and grow and integrate your inner demons, so that your outer world will have more benefits and that you will live a more prosperous life, where you are more at ease rather than frustrated or angry all the time, or in pain even, because those interactions can also become painful, and it's not ideally what we want to experience if we want to enjoy the pleasures of life. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Spirit, for clarifying that. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we are going to look at how this influence and this presence of your future self or your shadow self, depending on who you are and what you're going through. This is a general reading after all. How it will have an impact, change, or shift in your life. They wanted me to pick your tarot cards here right on the camera, unlike for some of the other piles. So yes, we will do that right here and now. Okay, so 4 or 5. Okay, yes. So for pile 4, please, Spirit. How will this significant, great presence help change, shift their lives, or have an impact on their life in the future here? 3 more shuffles. Okay, so we're gonna choose 4 to 5 cards. No. 1, where are you? Okay, 1, I think you're over here. Yes. 1, you are right. Yes. Okay, this is 1. 2, you are over here. Where are you, 2? Okay, there's 2. 3. 3, I feel you're over here. This is 3. Let's see here. Nope, not that one. The one before it. Yes, that we initially had our fingers on. Okay. 4. 5, you're over here. 4, you are over here. Okay. No, yep. And 5, let's give you a 5th card here. Pile 4. So let's see. 5, you are over here. Which one are you? 1 or 2? 2. Yes, this one. Okay. I feel like the 5th card here is like a cherry on top of sorts. We're gonna leave it out here, whatever it is. Let's look into, yes, what impact shifts it has. Okay. The Ace of Water element. Wonderful. Okay. I see. So we have number 6 here with the Chrome. And then we have the 10 of Waters. We have a lot of powerful mystics and witches coming through in this pile, don't we? Welcome, one and all. You are all lovely stars in my eyes. And then we have what I feel like, this is the 21st card. There's a lot more quote-unquote extra cards in this deck, but I feel like this is more like a combination of death and justice. Okay. What have we got for this energy? Yes. Interesting energy here, which we can clarify with this. Let's see. We have the 7 of Waters. Okay. You know, you might not be so rigid all the time, Pile 4, because you might be surprised. Anyhow, let's tie up your message here. Okay. So yes, for those of you growing or doing just personal growth, major kudos to you. Keep on at it. Takes a lot of work, takes a lot of burden. Like I said, for those of you who are feeling like on more the light side of this heavy group here. Not heavy group, like the heavy work that has to be done here. Integrating, working on aspects of yourself. The energy has just shifted here, feeling very light again. So yes, those tuning in on that energy wavelength, perfect. Keep at it. It might take a lot of work. It might take a lot of time. It might take a lot of time working with yourself and with others, actually, because perhaps your confidence has to be built up, and working with toxic environment, toxic people, it's not easy, right? It's challenging, it's difficult, and it takes time. But when you find the solidity, yes, the groundedness and solidity within yourself, that's how you change and shift the energy around you, just by being what you are. And for those of you working on the more burdensome, heavy, darker shadow aspects, yes, tune into what you want to become. Like I said, for some of you, it's shaman, mystics, witches, working on those realms. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes that's an overstatement. I mean, understatement. But tapping into the source and heart of why you are, I mean, who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, will eventually will give you the conviction and the drive that you need to eventually reach these states of where you want to be. And we're talking about the crone stage here, the oldest, most mature, wise stage, where you fought and battled many dark battles, many demons, internal demons within yourself, along with those around you as well, where you come to a point where you attain so much knowledge and wisdom that it will reach a state where you will feel very attuned and intuitive and second nature, very comfortable when dealing with those kind of energy. Here is a huge word of caution for those of you working on those realms, shamans, mystics, witches, things of that nature. You have to be extremely careful with your energy here. Make sure your grounding is right, because like I said, the energy feels for when you're working with those things, it can be very heavy. When you're working with the spiritual world, especially if you're like a medium or like a medium, a spiritualist, or even, you know, like a social worker working with traumas, or working with abuse, things of that, very dense energy to work with. So you have to be careful in terms of being in your own power, because when you're dealing with such heavy contrasting energy and forces, you have to be rooted and you have to be firm, extremely grounded, extremely in your power, in order to take on those kind of forces or things, whether it's trauma or demons or something else, from the spiritual world. And it's also, this is what I feel like it's going to shift into. The advice here coming through, especially with that caution aspect, we want to speak a little bit more to that aspect here. If you need to, seek out advice, right? Work with shamans who've come before you, either in your lineage, or witches or ancestors who've come and dealt with these things before in your lineage. For those of you who are just simply working on improving yourself, get mentors, guides who have done these things before, or people who've gone through these experiences before. Say, like, if you're a social worker, talk to other people that, or doing psychology or therapy as a therapist or something like that, if you're new in this field and yeah, a little bit green around the bushes, as we say, as the saying goes, then get advice from more experienced or older people or people who've been in the field longer, and they can give you that, not only their perspective but their experience on it as well. Because you'll get to a point where, yes, if you're not careful, it can really kind of shut you off from the world while you're doing your work. Say like you get, say for example, a psychiatrist deals with many patients during the day, or a social worker dealing with many patients, that when they get home they're so tired they don't want to interact with anybody else, and that kind of cuts or limits themselves off. The same for a shaman, when they're dealing with so many aspects of the spiritual world and always helping people with their problems, with their demons and complaints and things like that. At the end of the day, it's just, they just want to be in hermit mode and they might be locked out. But I do feel and see that for some of you, if not a good portion of you, two things coming through here. A, you become very proficient in terms of crossing the veil, crossing the void, crossing universes in the world, and reaching intuitively, going interdimensionally and working on that kind of level. We're talking about shamanistic scale here, so multi-dimensional kind of work. You'll get to a point where you'll be very comfortable and adept at it, is the word we're getting. Very proficient, very adept at it. For others of you, it's finding a partner or finding some sort of help or assistance that will make the process easier for you. It could be a romantic partner, it could be a mentor, it could be an apprentice, it could be some friends or people in the same field. Some colleagues, some friends that you'll be working with, that will help ease the burden. But for some of you, there's two messages coming through here. One is being adept at it, being able to traverse that interdimensional aspect via your intuition and your skills and your abilities. And the others of you is getting some sort of help, and I'm also hearing liaison. Okay, yeah. Okay, some sort of help, liaison, partner, colleagues that will help you out in that aspect too. But yes, just be careful that you are grounded, not pushing beyond your limits, and then so you don't become this kind of like hermit, stale angel of death kind of like vibe, to people. It's you can be the arbiter of truth and justice without being cold, is what I'm getting. Because yes, sometimes when you are looking at things very how should we say, objectively, you cut out everything else, right? But being humans, we have emotions, and being too cold or too rigid or too firm can be a bit too constricting for the energy sometimes. That's why having liaisons and friends and colleagues and partners can help in that respect, in that regards, so you don't become too isolated, too cold, too objective, while in this incarnation, in this world. That's why we have the shape of the world coming through too, reminding us of that aspect and having the integration and the balance there within. Very, very interesting, pile number 4. Yes, so a lot of you have some major personal growth and shifts coming through. Is part of yourself coming through here. But yes, keep at it. Remember to remain balanced, remain especially grounded. Seek help if you do need it. Mentorship. Not mentorship per se, but yeah, just some assistance or friends or something along the ways if you need it. Don't feel afraid or burdened to reach out. If you can find the proper resources and the proper people and connections to do so. But you are heading into a state and an energy that is far beyond your years here. For a good portion of you, I feel like either you are, only some of you are novices, some of you are more intermediary, but yeah, you're working towards mastery here. Well, okay. Really enjoy your reading, Pile4. Thank you for popping up here and checking out this reading. If you enjoyed, liked, or found the reading insightful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already for more messages. Wishing you a wonderful, magical day whenever and wherever you are. Take care of yourself, shine bright, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye, lovely stars.